The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk follows scientist Bruce Banner who... that's not right. Let's do this properly, shall we? Dr. Bruce Banner, physicist, scientist, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strengths that all humans have. Then, an accidental overdose of gamma radiation interacts with his own unique body chemistry. And now, when Bruce Banner becomes angry or enraged, a startling metamorphosis occurs. The creature is driven by rage and pursued by the dad from the 90s Lost in Space movie.
I love you, wife.
So he must let the world go on thinking that he is dead until he can find a way to control the raging spirit that dwells within him. The Hulk's history of movies has been kind of a metaphor for the character himself. He's very much the black sheep of Marvel. I mean, for as much as the audience likes Hulk, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that he does tend to cause a lot of destruction in his wake. And that trend continued into the MCU, with only this one solo film with no sequels, which hasn't happened with any of the other films. And his characters are pretty much vanished from the canon, aside from a couple of mentions of the villains in one-shots. The other actors don't return, aside from William Hurt, who comes back as a supporting character in Captain America Civil War. Even the lead was recast. He's also considered one of the worst, if not the worst, MCU film. And in an unpopular decision, I really like this film. In fact, there's actually only one MCU film I dislike, and it's not this one. And if you're the lucky boy or girl who figures out what my least favourite MCU film is, you win nothing. It's pretty obvious which one it's going to be. Bruce Banner is played by Edward Norton, who plays the role very timid and reserved. His character's focus is on his inner turmoil and how the Hulk basically haunts him. His slim figure and soft-spoken delivery are a great counter to the raging Hulk, and he plays the paranoid fugitive well. The female lead is Betty Ross, played by Liv Tyler. She's a lot like Banner, very reserved and soft-spoken. The pair are actually very sweet together, and it's a shame that she never returns. Betty isn't even mentioned outside of a reference to a name in the Hulkbuster codename Veronica. Get it? Betty, Veronica, Archie, Riverdale. Bet you didn't know that Archie predated that Riverdale TV series, did you? Or it used to look like this. Seriously, it blew a friend's mind when I showed her this character designs, and she just couldn't realise that this is what Riverdale was based on. But aside from that, I like that Betty isn't afraid of the Hulk, like this scene where she jumps in front of him to calm him down. There's a real sense that she actually gives a shit about him, and is actually a vital part of his character outside of just being a love interest. At the time of making this, I don't know how Hulk's story will end in the MCU, but I'm still holding out for a reunion. Might be the first MCU romance that I'm actually rooting for. So yes, I'm confirming that I'm a Bruce x Betty shipper. The action is what you want from a Hulk movie. He fights the military, he smashes things, punches another big monster, takes cars, turns them into a boxing gloves. It's just so cathartic to watch, and I really do care to kick out of just the wanton destruction. Unlike another movie I could mention. The film is at its best when it's not using words. A lot is conveyed through body language and cinematography. You feel how Banner is suffering without him having to say anything, and a lot of the story is told without dialogue at all. The entire backstory is told through the opening credits, and you just understand what's going on without it having to be laid out for you. I think my favourite moment is when Bruce and Betty are just laying in bed and clearly think about each other, but aren't allowing themselves to be with each other due to the circumstances. Also, I gotta give it credit. Betty's seeing someone else, and when he finds out that she's gone off with him, he's actually supportive. Like, he understands this woman and respects her enough. Because any other film would have played this guy like a douchebag. Any other film. Any other film I could mention. I'm not a fan of this movie. The villains are what you'd expect from the MCU. Functional, but nothing special. Emil Blonsky, played by Tim Roth, is built up as being fascinated by the Hulk, slowly becoming more and more powerful and aggressive, until he becomes the monstrous abomination. Functional, but at the very least he's got a pretty cool design, with the bones jutting out as spikes and a look which it just looks like he's enjoying all of this carnage, maybe a little bit too much. Though the CG is questionable. Decent, but it kind of depends on your tolerance levels. Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, God is that an awesome name, played by William Hurt, is the major antagonist, hunting down the Hulk and Banner. He's pretty decent, but nothing outstanding. At least I like a William Hurt performance, so That has got something going for it. In conclusion, The Incredible Hulk is a dramatic insight into a tortured man, forced to be separated from the woman he loves, told through sympathetic performances, and a lot of it is purely visual. Also has a big green muscle man beating the shit out of a monster with cars for boxing gloves. Seriously, cars as boxing gloves. Now, you may not agree with me, but this is my video. I'm gonna call it like I see it. 8 out of 10. Agree with me or not, at least it wasn't the Ang Lee Hulk film. Though apparently Chris disagrees with me on that. I'll have to have a discussion about that one of these days. Takes a lot to make 14-year-old me dislike a film, but you pull it off, Hulk, you boring piece of shit. But enough shitting on Ang Lee's Hulk for now. So I'll just finish off by saying I really like this film and I think it's worth a second try. May not have had any sequels, but at the very least, it did have a pretty good solo one. Take care now. Bye bye then.
Possible gamma sickness. Milwaukee. A man drank one of those Guarana sodas. Guess it had a little more kick than he was looking for.